What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I am Ant217 and I love the Addams Family. I watched the live action movies, the cartoon movies. I even watched when the Addams Family met up with the Scooby-Doo gang and I loved it. So I am a big fan of the Addams Family. I don't know what it is about the Addams Family, maybe because they're weird or because they're outcasts, and I can relate to them for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not weird. So Netflix has done something amazing. They made a Addams Family show, but it centers around Wednesday. I loved the show. Jenna Ortega killed it as Wednesday. So today I'm going to be drawing Wednesday from Addams Family. Da 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 da. Let's get started. It was either I draw Wednesday or I do her dance. Sorry you had to see that. I'm gonna draw Wednesday now. Now to start, I don't wanna just draw Wednesday, I wanna draw Jenna Ortega as Wednesday. So I'm gonna try to capture her likeness. Now to do that, I wanna grab references just to see that person in different scenarios, different angles, different lightings, and try to capture her as much as possible. And hopefully I can create something that will make Wednesday and Jenna Ortega happy. Does she wanna be happy? Or sad? Mad, or emotionless. So one thing I like to do when I'm trying to capture likeness is study the references. Now sometimes I'll do this on multiple references, but I'm just gonna do it on this one for now and show you guys a quick trick that I like to do. Okay, so first I like to lower the opacity, and then I get a color, maybe a bright blue or red or green, whatever color, just make sure it's bright so that you can see it on top of the reference. Then I basically go over the reference with guidelines, like if I was just doing my sketch. So I'm not tracing the image, I'm actually doing rough guidelines on it. And I do that so that I can make sure that my proportions are correct and her facial features are in the right place. So I do the circle right there, and then I do a line down the middle, the center line, and then I do the eye line. And this just helps me capture the facial structure of the reference a little easier. And also, if you look at the reference, that's scary to draw. That looks like a lot of hard work to draw that reference. But if you look at what I did with the guidelines and take away the reference, then that right there is way less intimidating. That looks like you can draw it. So that is exactly what I am going to do. I'm going to take what I did there with the guidelines and just recreate it. I'm not going to use those guidelines because that wasn't my drawing. I just went over the reference, and I don't like to do that. So I'm going to try to closely recreate this guidelines to the left, because that's not so scary to draw. That looks like a very easy thing to draw. So I'm trying to get it as accurate as possible to that on the left, and just do what I normally do. Do my guidelines, center line, and start my sketch. So I am going to change the color of my sketch now, just because I do this thing that I like to do, and I put my sketch on top of the guideline reference that I just did, just to see how accurate I was. And it was pretty accurate. The eye line was just a little bit off, but it was very accurate, and I'm actually really happy with the way it came out. And I just do that because I want to see if I am actually observing my reference correctly and accurately recreating that. For any of you that actually know me or know my videos, then you know how much I hate drawing hands. Artists all over the world hate drawing hands. And Thing, while I love his character, he is a hand. Just a hand. I'm so sorry to the artists that have to draw the Addams Family cartoons and have to worry about drawing Thing. I am sorry. I had to draw 3 hands in this one video. 3 hands. All right, everybody, so this is my sketch. I am very happy with it. I'm just gonna jump into the inks. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do a little bit of magic. Da 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 da. There is my inks. Now I just wanna jump into the flat colors before I do the rendering. All right, everybody, so this is my Wednesday with the flat colors. I'm just gonna do a quick background so I know where the lighting is gonna be coming from. I think it's a really good idea to do your backgrounds first. It's really good practice. Now, I don't always do it just because I forget, but it's a really good idea just so that you know how the scene interacts with your character. So the lighting might be bouncing off an object and then hitting your character, or certain objects will reflect color onto your character. So it's a good idea to know where all those things are gonna land before you start rendering your character. Now, with that being said, I don't think this background is gonna affect the rendering too much because it's gonna be a very dark background because I don't want the background to be the focus. I want her to be able to pop out of the background. So as I'm working on the rendering, I want to make sure that there is a high contrast between the shadows and the light, because I noticed that in the show, oftentimes when you see Wednesday, not all the time, but oftentimes when you see Wednesday, there is a very, very high contrast between light and dark. I think they did a really good job showing that, and it helped her remain a little creepy, I guess, even in the brightly lit environments. So I'm trying to capture that here, with the shadows on one side of her face being real dark and then the lights on the other side of her face. With my style of rendering, oftentimes I use cell shading, and that is just when you see the different layers of shading stacked on top of each other. Again, that is my style of shading, but sometimes I like a more softer, more painterly style. So to fuse them together, I just take my brush tool, make it soft, paint with transparency on Clip Studio. You can also use the eraser tool in other programs, a soft eraser, and just make it a little less prominent. It's still there, it's still cell shading, but it's a little less noticeable. This right here is what we call rim light. It's the light that comes from behind you that shines on the edges of, I guess, your silhouette. This helps to separate you from the background. So if you have a really dark character and a really dark background, such as Batman or Wednesday, then you can use rim light to make sure that they don't get lost in the background. All right, everybody, so this is what I have so far. I am happy with the way she is coming out, but I do feel like it's missing something composition-wise. So I want to show you a composition trick that I love. This technique is called framing. I do this by using photo bashing techniques by taking a black dahlia flower, which is Wednesday's favorite flower because it's based on her favorite unsolved murder. Her words, not mine, and I put it in the bottom right corner. I used Gaussian blur or surface blur to make it look a little more painterly, and then I just used my actual paint brushes to paint on top of it. This helps it look less like a photo and more like part of my drawing. I then put it into Photoshop and make a duplicate layer and use cutout or posterization. This gives it a cell shaded look, and then I lower the transparency just a little bit just so it's a little bit more subtle. And then back to framing, I then add another element to the top left corner of my image. These two objects, these two elements come together to frame my image. At first, I was just thinking leaving just the flower and thing could frame the image, but it didn't seem like enough for me, so I add this spider web. All right, so I am happy with the way it's coming out, but I do want it to be a little bit more creepy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more contrast with the lighting and just give her more darkness around her eyes and this side of her face. So to do that, I'm just going to make a new layer, set it to multiply, lower the transparency, get a dark color, and just shade over the parts I want darker with a soft brush. Before, after, before, after. I'm actually really proud of my thing hand. You know I don't like drawing hands. You know what it is? You know what it is with the hands? You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't like drawing hands, but I gotta hand it to me. I did a good job. All right, everybody, so this is my Wednesday drawing. I think it came out great. I gotta hand it to myself. As a matter of fact, Thing, give me a hand. I think Wednesday and Thing would both approve of this. And if you like what you see here, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell. Please leave me a comment and let me know if you liked the Wednesday show, if you're planning on seeing it, or are you hoping they come back for season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I hope they keep coming back because like this picture, that show is awesome, I think. Thanks for watching.